Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fascinating episode of Dragon Talk. I am Greg Tito, and I'm joined by...
Shelly Mazzanoble.
That's you.
You usually say who I am.
I do.
You usually speak for me.
Which is a habit I want to break of myself. I want to let you talk.
I'm okay with it.
Just talk.
Just talk.
You want to do the intro? Remember last time I gave you the reins? It all went to crap.
It was too scary.
It was very scary.
And I told you what song I have in my head all day today. So when you said, welcome to, I was like, Fart Town.
Oh. Well, yeah, that makes total sense. Well, so, we are in Fart Town.
We are.
And we're talking about Dragon Talk with two amazing guests calling in from Canada.
What?
Both of you.
Yeah, Canada. Yay.
Yay.
Gotta love it.
Yay, Canada.
So we just had Canada Day. So
that's true. That was good.
Wow.
You guys are also not in the World Cup along with the United States. That's right.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's not hockey.
So we have Eric Jordan from Codename Entertainment. Hello.
Hello.
And Mr. Minsk and Boo from Beamdog. Hi, Trent. How are you?
I'm well.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a little disappointed that you're not wearing that costume again.
That's because it takes 2 hours to do the bald cap, and that is. There are a few things that I felt in my life that are as interesting as the 4 p.m. head slush thing.
Oh.
It kind of builds up some water in there and
rolling
your head back and forth.
Oh wait, is that a thing?
Wow.
That is gross.
Do you just kind of like peel the cap open a little and just let it all just run down the side of your face?
Yeah, and it runs down your neck in your shirt, and you're like, oh.
And it tastes like what's in my water bottle.
It's the Tito sweat is
There
in there.
it is.
It's true. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Trent Oster dressed as Minsk during the stream of Many Eyes in Los Angeles.
It was so good. I tuned
very
in and I immediately saw you and I was like, oh my God, Minsk and Boo are there. I didn't know it was you. I didn't know it was you until the end of the event.
That's awesome. A lot of people didn't, and we had this whole table where it was Chris was there as Earth the Moneylender.
Yeah.
And then we had Ed Greenwood as Elminster, and then there was me, and we had Mark Muir there as Alveus Malcanter. And there were so many people who came up and they saw us and they were all excited about it. And we're like, they're going to get home, they're going to talk to their friends, and they'll realize who all the people were at the table, and they'll be blown away.
Right. They loved the
It's
characters,
so crazy.
but they didn't even realize that
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's insane.
I thought you were a paid actor.
I was an unpaid actor.
Did you know? Did you know that you had Minsk inside of you like that?
I didn't. I was totally hedging my bets. I was like, I may bring a costume to the Stream of Many Eyes. I may show up as a character. And then just about a week before, I committed to it.
What? Who did the costume?
A friend of ours downstairs, actually. So our office, we're up on a second story, and the first store is kind of like a Wiccan shop that sells clothing and stuff.
Oh, no way.
Whoa.
Got a friend down there who's a fashion designer, and she's a leather worker. So I went down, I was talking to her, and I'm like, so I'm thinking about making this suit out of leather armor. And she said, well, the first thing you should do is you should stop thinking about it, and you should just tell me what you want, and I'll build it.
Oh.
Like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. And then I showed her some pictures, and she's like, wow, that's going to be challenging. When do you need it? I was like, I need it in like a week and a half. She's like, I could do that.
Sounds like a Project Runway challenge.
Yeah, make it work.
It was
Make
insane.
it work.
So she actually, we came up with some ways to kind of work around the difficulties of the costume, but she was able to knock it out in like 10 days, 11 days.
Oh my God.
And then she gave it to me, and then she asked if she could take it home overnight and just distress the leather a bit. She thought it looked too neat. She said it looked like Minsk went off to his first war.
Oh.
And she figured that Minsk was a pretty hardened veteran, so he needed a little damage on his armor. So she took it home the last night and distressed it.
That's pretty cool.
Where did Boo come from?
Boo, no, he was plastic. It was the only way we could stab a pin through him. So
I thought you were going to say, well, my daughter had a hamster.
40 years ago, and it's been...
And ironically, he went
just
missing.
Spray lacquered him and put him on.
Nobody's seen him since the day before the stream of many eyes.
And nobody was complaining about the smell at all.
No, he looked so real. It was crazy.
And then
That was
Eric,
great.
of course, you were in costume
Also looked
for
wonderful.
codename there as yourself in a kilt.
Yeah, actually, the funny thing about that costume was it was all things that I owned, and most of it were things I wore on a daily basis, except for the waistcoat piece that I had. Everything else was like my normal kilt and boots and stuff.
Nice. Do you wear those on a daily basis, or I thought that was just special events whenever you were hung out with Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, no. Actually, I've been wearing kilts for 5 years, pretty much every day now. I had not realized how comfortable they were until I got my first one at Gen Con, I guess 5 years ago, and was like, these are insanely comfortable. And so transitioned all of my wardrobe over. And occasionally if I wear jeans, I'm like, oh, this is not as good. I don't like this.
I don't feel as free all of a sudden.
Exactly.
I don't think I could picture you in jeans.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Yeah, definitely. I have people who come up to me and there'll be like at an event and they're like, oh, I started talking to someone else because I saw they were wearing a kilt. And then I looked up and realized it wasn't you. So they're quite a distinctive thing.
I looked up. Always look up. Look him in the eyes.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
know.
Not
My
down
eyes
at
are
the
up here.
kilts. God,
Rude.
Exactly.
how rude.
Eyes up here, man.
I have to say, wearing a kilt, I get like an average of one comment a day from some random stranger walking up to me asking me about typically either the kilt or the boots.
Really?
And of course, the comments kind of tend to fall in sort of a set of things. And there is a surprising freedom that people feel to ask whether or not you're wearing underwear if
I
you're wearing
was
a
gonna
kilt,
say
which is like, it's a strange, I'm like,
Probably the
what
number one
other
question.
social context is there that you can just randomly walk up to a stranger and ask if they're wearing
I
underwear?
don't feel like there's any.
Yeah,
any
that's kind
time.
of where I was going with. So yeah.
Unless you see a kid running somewhere and you're like, dude.
Well, yeah, unless it's your
Well,
own
true.
child
An adult. Let's go with
leaving the
adults.
house without pants on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so yeah, it was a lot of fun having you guys there, being at the Stream of Many Eyes. What was there anything you wanted to report on being there on the boots on the
Anything
ground?
Greg could do better.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what he's trying to ask.
This is a feedback session.
Or
I think the
just maybe just
stream
tell
was just
Nathan.
awesome. Some of the people, the volunteers like Dustin, just doing an amazing job helping out. And it felt like this crazy kind of community. And it almost felt like a hippie love-in. And by the end of it, I was feeling just so happy. And then afterwards, I was kind of in this depressed post-stream of Many Eyes state. I'm like, can I just crawl back there? Can I just go back? Just want to go back in there. It was my happy place.
I think Satine described it best where she said it was a happiness hangover.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It definitely felt like, oh man, a couple of days. I'm still coming down from it right now. I'm like, oh yeah, I can't believe that was more than a month ago at this point.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, walking on to set the first time and kind of seeing Waterdeep like that it was really kind of awe-inspiring.
My favorite moment was watching people, especially the fans, when they came into the set for the first time. And there was kind of like this 5-minute stun effect that hit them, where they just kind of wandered around and stared at everything in slow motion. And then after about 5 minutes, they recovered and started walking at normal speed again. But there was that initial phase where they were just stunned.
Yeah. You realize that's a big giant foot just there. That
Just
thing's
hanging out.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's a toe.
Well, I think it was well set up that they came in, I guess waiting outside in the sun, and then came in through that dark alley and then walked in, and you saw kind of the courtyard of Waterdeep, and we were the second booth in, and so they would still be quite in shock when they were kind of coming up to our booth and be just like, oh my God. And it was interesting being on there for a couple of days because I remember that when I first walked on feeling like, oh my God, this is so incredible. But by the third day, you're like, oh yeah, I'm in Waterdeep again. This is really great. But then you kind of see reflected back in the eyes of the people when they were first attending oh yeah, I remember how amazing this is. And then it went away.
Right.
Oh.
It wasn't permanent, Greg.
I know. I wish it was.
It wasn't permanently there.
I know. Wouldn't it be great to go to that, like a Waterdeep all the time, and it was an always-on theme park that you could go to? How great would that be?
Well, it did have a
you guys are
theme park
missing an
feel to
opportunity
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, D&D land. Yeah.
D&D land, Waterdeep land. Come join.
Yeah, it could have like an amusement park with a water park area.
Oh, and actually do some Waterdeep.
Yeah.
You're like, go down the Waterdeep
Yeah.
flume. Yeah, and you guys were there for all 3 of the days, for some of them beforehand too. So I think the space got better over the 3 days, as well as Aaron, the set designer, was adding more and more stuff to it every single day, painting last second as things were still happening. So it was a culmination of stuff that the public got to see on day 3 on Sunday that we didn't get, because we saw it almost incrementally grow and change over those couple of days. So I was jealous of them for that.
Yeah, definitely true. Our booth was changing each day. Our booth had more things added to it. And so, yeah, it was the penultimate on Sunday.
Got more flavor there for sure. And then on Sunday, you had Scott Kurtz and Holly Conrad coming to the booth.
We did. Yeah. That was actually, somewhat last minute in terms of like, oh, this might be fun. And it was actually, I was really glad we did it because, obviously they're both really awesome, and it was great to kind of have one of the champions from our game being there in the flesh and having people interact with them. So we were like, that worked out well.
It was really cool. Yeah. Seeing Strix and Binwin embody their characters while also being their creators was pretty cool.
Well, I think especially for Scott, because he hasn't had a chance to kind of dress up and get to be Binwin recently. And so for him, he was like, oh, I'm so happy to get to be Binwin again. And he definitely has some huge fans who would like, oh my God, it's Scott Kurtz. I've been reading your stuff. I love Binwin. So that was really awesome to see.
That was fun. I loved it. I know. Now we got to top it. I don't know what we're going to do for the stream of next year.
The stream of next year.
I ran into Holly in the hallway behind there, and she didn't recognize me, and I didn't recognize her.
Oh my God!
We actually know each other outside of it. And she's like, "Great Mitch costume." I was like, "You are creepy." Just looking at Strix, and she's got her eyes and everything. I'm like, "Wow,
the
that
eyes,
was amazing." Yeah. And then about an hour later, she came by and she's like, "Trent, is that you?" And I'm like, "Holly?"
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of hilarious.
But she was like, hey, look at this. And she's got a little LED thing within her, kind of in the folds of her costume, and she can change the color of her staff. So she's like, oh, look, I'm going to change the color of my staff. So, yeah.
I love all that. Her props are amazing. The like little bits of potions and the trash that she has in her bags all mean something. I loved it.
It was so cool when we were working with her to move Strix and create Strix in our game. She could give us these like really detailed photos of all of the elements of her costume because she'd built it all, right? And so she's like, oh, here's this and here's this and here's this. And one of the things in the game is we have these cards representing equipment. And so Kat, the artist who worked on that, we went to great lengths to capture kind of the authenticity of each of the pieces because Holly had so much detail. And I guess Chris Perkins had given her a long list. Here's all this stuff that you've got, and then she'd gone and built it all, and then we used that as reference to sort of translate into the game.
Yeah, when does that ever happen for a video game company to have actual real-world photos be your reference points?
Well, certainly it's the difference. What we found, because we've got, characters like, obviously we recently added Deacon into the game. And so we've got characters like Deacon in the game, and of course Menskin Boo. And then we've got characters that are coming from influencers. And one of the differences is that when we're working with an influencer, it's kind of like you get to talk to the character directly. I mean, it's not quite. You're talking to Holly, and Holly isn't Strix, but there's a very close and intimate connection between those two identities. And you're not talking to, like obviously talking to Trent, you could talk about a whole selection of characters that he's had a chance to work with. Whereas Holly's like you're talking about Strix, and in great detail on that. So it's interesting. They're just both different.
So what is that process though? Like if you're going to add them, like how much do you, or like the time that you start talking to the person who created these characters to when they show up in the game, what's that process?
What is that process? So it doesn't matter which that we're doing. Like, so when we started working on Deacon, or before when we were working on Strix or Binwin or Evelyn, it all kind of starts with an initial design session where we kind of try to identify what are the sort of key thematic elements that we really need to translate for that character to come across as capturing the essence of that character. And then one of the things that we hit on is really this idea of wanting to not capture that character at a particular moment in time, because lots of different characters exist across, they represent, they're maybe in novels and they're in video games and they're all sorts of different spots. And so they can end up having different, are they old, are they young, where are they in their career? So we want to do kind of a best of, a greatest hits sort of version of the character. And so it was interesting, like when we were chatting with Anna about Evelyn, what was Evelyn going to even be human or not? Like what form was Evelyn even going to be in? And so we sort of, chatted that through with to Anna to kind of come up with that. And so we sort of come up with this, here's the kind of key pieces and the most iconic aspects of equipment and abilities and stuff like that. And then Justin and former Wizards employee Chris Dupuis will go off and come up with sort of what the design specs are going to be around that, and then we'll start also proofing out concept art, and then getting concept art out, as well as sort of here's what we see the abilities being and what they would do within the game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool. And you've mentioned it a couple of times, but now we can talk about a little bit more, the character of Deacon.
Deacon.
Yeah, where is Deacon in Neverwinter Nights?
That is correct. That's where he came from.
Nice. And what kind of a character is he for folks that don't know, like Shelley?
I didn't know, but I Googled him. So there.
So you know now.
Oh, there you go.
I
Courtesy
know.
of the internet.
He is a kobold bard. He's a writer. He's very artsy, and he defied
gravity?
the typical and gravity, but the typical kobold upbringing. He doesn't like the life of mining and fighting. He just wants to chill and be poetic. Right? Am I close?
You were very close.
He sounds
So
like a
when
cool
Deacon
dude.
was authored, the concept was we wanted to create a character, a monster character that was outside the box what people would expect. And the idea of a kobold bard really came out of, we'll make a more intelligent kobold. Oh, well, what would be a fun kind of way to kind of drag him, and doing him as a bard and having him sing, and he just kind of kept growing and growing and growing, and Dave Gator wrote him, and Dave kind of injected a lot of himself into Deacon.
Aw.
When we had the Hordes of the Underdark meeting, it had been in development for a while, and then we kind of had almost like a strategy meeting where we're like, how is it going, and how's it feeling? And I kind of stomped into it, and I'm like, guys, this is epic level. This is 40th level stuff. I want this adventure to be epic, 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 epic. And so in his writing, Deacon talks about his boss and how his boss is kind of a jerk, and he kept doing revisions of the story, and his boss said, make it more epic, Deacon, epic, epic, epic. And I'm like, oh, wow, Dave just trolled me.
in your own game, he trolled you.
Yep. So it happens. I've been mocked in my own games before. It just continues to happen.
I love that. That's like the perfect bard thing, though, to do, is to use the performance to mock the circumstances of their creation. I love it.
And he speaks about himself in third person. And he's afraid of dragons.
Well, that came right from Trent, right?
Like Trent. Trent, who's also afraid of dragons.
I usually don't speak about myself in the third person.
But you are scared of dragons. I mean, who is?
I mean, really.
Who isn't? There's a reason they have a fear effect. Like 15-foot radius. There's a reason for that.
It's true. So this awesome kobold bard is now a champion available within Idle Champions.
That's right.
When does that?
Yeah.
Did that already begin, or is that starting soon?
No, that already began last week, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. It was last week. No, Thursday. It was on our stream last week. We have this new button, and we pressed the button, and it went live.
I think there's some copyright trademark infringement there inherent in that
I
button.
thought you could just order paper and stuff. I didn't know you could actually.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
launch
We can have whole
new
events go live
features.
in our game.
I gotta get one.
Boom.
I know it's totally wired up to all of our server logic. So
How come Beamdog doesn't have this technology?
We have buttons. We have many buttons. They just do slightly different things.
They're not easy buttons. They're just buttons.
They're not. It doesn't happen automatically.
Yeah.
No.
No. Our button triggers an alarm, which a person gets up and runs from their desk to another desk to type things in.
But see, if you had a robotic walking desk, you'd be able to save all those steps.
There is that.
Why don't we?
I know.
What if all of our desks looked like Loaf?
Yes.
And we could just like sit on her back.
And
hey, Tito.
you could actually be a drider in real life.
I think you need more office space.
That's true.
We might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of those magic kids. We don't need them.
Yeah, we'll get rid of 95% of the company. So we can have
Easy.
our drider desk.
Just press the easy button. That's what they're for.
That's right. Exactly.
Press it.
It's
Eric,
all
press
done.
it. See what happens.
Thanks, Eric.
There
You
you go.
really helped
Actually,
us
the
out.
funny thing about this button is you press. I'm not sure here. See if you.
Oh
do.
my God, they're going to get so many office.
That was easy.
There we go. But there's that delay between pressing and actually saying something, which surprised me the first time I used it. So.
And you just kept
There you
pressing
go.
it? And
Yeah,
then a
like,
pallet
when's
of
it gonna say
computer
something?
paper.
So.
What did you just order, I wonder?
Oh yeah. Well, maybe buffing Deacon. There we go. A buff for Deacon.
Oh.
Everybody's got a button now. He'll just get buffed all over the place. So what was that like working together? Taking. I mean, I guess you did it with Minsk and Boo previously, but having two game companies crossing the streams here.
I think it was actually pretty easy in the sense that we're both game devs, and so that's good. And our primary contact was Lee, who actually had been in Victoria and in a previous job had worked with our director of marketing. And so the two of them were able to be like, okay, here's what we need, da, da, da. And so we were able to get a lot of wonderful reference stuff incredibly easily, which was great.
Convenient.
It's a small industry.
Yeah. That is cool. I didn't realize Lee had worked with Clive before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they both worked at a company called Tiny Mob years before.
Yeah, and so it's true. All Canadian game developers have worked together at some point.
Well, all Canadians, actually.
I knew it.
I think it's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. There's in Canada in the game industry, it's like 3 degrees.
Yes.
Isn't it like 1 degree from EA? I think that was.
You have suffered your time at EA. You've done your tour of duty.
Yeah.
Especially, I think, on Western Canada. I mean, it's hard to be in a game studio without running into someone who has worked at EA at some point.
I feel like for Eastern Canada, it's Ubisoft now at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, Ubisoft, I think there's over 2,000 people in that studio, and EA is like 1,300 or so in Burnaby. So, I mean, they're big studios.
Yeah. So yeah, both of you, going through the process of starting up your own studios. What's that like as far as, I don't know, just having that founder mentality? I feel like the two of you have some cross purposes there.
The big question is always, how hard could it possibly be? And the answer is, oh my God, this hurts so much. Like being acid in the face constantly.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I have never done anything where you can go from being on top of the world to being worthless gutter trash so quickly. We're talking sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. You're like, it's all awesome. We are the horriblest of the horrible. We're worthless, worthless slime. And then later in the day, you're like, we're awesome again.
We did it.
And then before you go home at night, you're like, I'm slime again.
What a roller coaster of emotions.
Yep. And if you're deprived of sleep, it gets even better.
Yeah, I should point out, so I didn't start our company. It was started by Dave and Justin, were the 2 co-founders for us. So I joined, actually after 4 years is when I joined, but it was still very much an early kind of startup mode, if you will.
Right.
So yeah, and I started a company before this, and yeah, there were a lot of similarities. And I totally agree with Trent. It is an incredible roller coaster ride, and I think one of the things about starting a company and kind of building a company is your ability to manage stress and deal with kind of great deals of uncertainty for long periods of time is a useful skill.
Is that a skill so much as a callus?
After continual shocking and torturing responses, your reaction starts to diminish.
Yeah.
There's that. There's elements.
Well, I mean, but I think actually more seriously, I do think if you stay in that role, you do develop strategies for dealing with stress, right? Like whether it's meditation, which I've done a lot of, or it's, exercise, or I don't know, maybe Trent doing all the metal work you're doing. Like
Yep.
it's, you know, I think you develop skills to manage that, because it is a lot of stress. And I think that's something that people who haven't done it before and start something kind of like, oh my God, and you're like, well, actually you need to like consciously do things to manage this, because it's just too much otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's few things on the earth that are as calming as smashing hot metal into something else. That's definitely a relaxing thing. By the time you're done, you have no tension left in you.
That's good.
I didn't. I didn't know
Glad
smashing.
you have an
hot
outlet.
Now I want to get some hot metal and start smashing
Hot
it.
metal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's change the name of this podcast.
To-
Hot metal.
That's our band. Maybe that's our
Done.
bard band. We'll
Okay.
get Deacon on board and it'll be fun.
Smashing
Oh.
hot metal.
Smashing
Yes.
hot metal. It's like better than smashing pumpkins.
It is.
Yeah. Done.
Because we get that a lot. I mean, people were always asking, like, how do we break into the industry is always a question. But
I
then
know,
also,
and then
like,
listening.
if I wanted to start up a company, how would I do it?
Sounds like you shouldn't.
Sounds like you shouldn't, or start from relaxation.
I mean, I've never been trained for anything that I'm doing. I am a computer science dropout, and in the summer of my third year, we started a company that later became BioWare. And then after a long time there, 2007 I left, or sorry, 2009 I left, and started Beamdog. There was kind of no question that I would start something. It's like, let's see. I'm in Alberta. I know how to make games, and there are no game companies here besides BioWare. What should I do with my? I know. I'll make a game company.
It's
Double the industry.
We'll invite them to the Chamber of Commerce.
Isn't it your birthday, Trent? Not
What?
your birthday. I guess Beamdog's
Oh.
birthday, though.
Beamdog's 9th birthday.
Ninth
Oh,
birthday
happy
today.
birthday,
Happy
Beamdog.
birthday.
Which I will always remember because it's my daughter's birthday. So
Oh, it's
Oh.
right. Happy
Oh.
birthday, Fiona.
Yeah.
she was inspired.
You were inspired.
My wife and I were playing Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. And we were like, we should make our own game. Nah, let's just
Mega
Let's just
baby.
have a child.
have children's.
Yeah. So I'm always curious where the name came from. Beamdog.
Beamdog.
Yeah.
So Beamdog came out of this idea. We were building a portal for people to be able to download games and just have them work when they hit their PC. At the time, the PC gaming experience was actually pretty bad. So we came up with this way of essentially virtualizing video games so we could distribute them ready to play. And so we had built this kind of transfer platform, kind of like Steam.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, we want to name it, and we want the name to be representative. So Beamdog is actually transfer companion. Beam to transfer, and
Oh.
dog, he's your buddy. He's not going to
Yes.
tell you how it should be. He's like, tell me what you want to do.
Oh my
I'll do it.
God.
I'm all happy. So Beamdog.
That's really cool.
And I always thought it was a play on Blink Dog. I don't know why.
I think that's what I picture when I
Yeah.
picture Beamdog.
Right? Like Blink. You know, your
You're
game's
all
there.
bringing baggage to the name.
That's what's
It's all about where you come from.
that's a
You-
great name, right? When it's like it means different things for different people.
You
and,
can start your own game company called Blink Dog.
and then we'll put
I hear it's
everybody
super
out of business
easy.
in Canada. Oh, I'm not going to do that.
No.
I shall not start my own game company
No, we will not.
because I don't have the calluses that you guys have.
No, you'll be a sobbing mess inside of here.
He's already kind of.
It's true. I cry. Cry at meetings all the time.
It's very sensitive.
It's a very important part of making games is to be
Crying
in touch
in
with.
meetings?
Yeah.
Actually, no, the biggest part is just being able to cry on the inside.
Yeah, that's what you need to work on.
Yeah.
Just on the inside.
Just on the inside. No, work on it.
Just no, seriously.
All
Seriously.
right, will do. I will.
Okay.
So Deacon being a
Deacon.
big part of this.
Yes.
I know. Were you gonna ask something?
No.
All right, dang it. So yeah, how do people unlock Deacon in Idle Champions? What's the way to make it happen?
So we're currently running the Founders Day event, which is around the founding of Waterdeep. And so that lasts until Tuesday, July 17th. And the first adventure, once you complete the first adventure, you're able to unlock Deacon. So if you've never played the game before, you need to, download and install the game and all those good things, and then play through the tutorial adventure first, just to get you tutorialized up. And then you can do Founders Day. And then after that, we have a new system that came in, I guess, maybe a week and a half ago or so. That was the first system launched with the easy button, which was the we launched time gates, which is a mechanism that allows players to open a time gate and select one of the champions that they don't have. I think we present 3, and you can select one of those and then earn that. So that's a way to get Deacon outside of the event.
Got it. So, and then all of previous champions will be available through that, or is it just going to be like a cycling type of thing?
There are 3 presented at a time, and they're drawn from the ones that they're sort of randomly selected for you, Greg.
Got it.
So they're selected individually based on what you don't have, and so they'll show you 3, and you get to choose one of those.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, because we did have a question come in on the Twitch chat about how to do that to buy old champions that you miss. But this question goes a little bit farther. It's like just like the time gate, but also have the options to buy packs for them also. Is that something you guys are looking at? This question is from Oster, by the way.
There we go. Is that something we're looking at? We are looking at that, though. I don't know how much have we publicly said about that. I don't think we've said a lot yet, but yes, we are absolutely considering it.
It is a thing that is in the world that you are looking at.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect
Words
game.
have been spoken.
There we go. I mean, and we do, I think, see, I'm only like so connected to the detailed list of features and what's been disclosed and what hasn't. So you can check our Reddit, where there's actually a fairly detailed list of what we're doing and what commitments are there. And we do a stream every Thursday on this very station at 1 o'clock. Yeah, and so we do a 2-hour stream there, and the people that run that can give you very detailed questions or know when to stop giving you detailed answers, which is the spot I struggle with.
Right. You are the Nathan Stewart of...
I'm the spoiler guy, exactly, yeah.
Just say what you want.
It's just like, hey, here we go.
I don't know.
Now it's been announced. Good job, Eric.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, your team is going, no!
No, don't say that, Eric.
Why?
It's not the easy button.
See, this is if I had like a cut to, I would like cut to a GIF of like everybody panicking and running around on fire. And then, so Trent, Neverwinter Nights has been out for several months. People have been digging it.
That is true, and we've also just recently released the Darkness Over Daggerford expansion DLC for it. So that was originally created by Ossian Studios back in the day, but it was actually canceled. So they had released a free version of it, but never really finished it.
Mm-hmm.
So we partnered up with them, gave them some resources to finish it off, and now it's launched under Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition. Some new voiceover added, some new areas cleaned up, and it's actually a great experience. And we also announced at Stream of Many Eyes, we announced Neverwinter on mobile. So we're coming on Android.
Oh.
I've actually played the build, and it was actually horrible. And I was telling my people, "This is horrible. This is unacceptable." And they're like, "Trent, your Android device is junk. You need to buy a better." That's one of the first Android devices to have shipped, and I'm like, it's still really bad. It needs to be better.
Well, now there's going to be a new character coming out.
Yeah, that's going to be like,
it's not good enough. It still needs to be better.
This is dead to me.
Your Android device.
How villains are made.
Your Android device was as old as the Beamdog.
It was one of the first Android devices to launch. I just grabbed one that was handy that actually held a charge and installed the build on it. I'm like, not good.
That's your ogre impression. That's going to be a character that somebody's going to write in pretty soon.
That'll be my thing. I'll present all product critique as ogre.
Yeah.
Not good. Buttons wrong. Smash, smash.
That'll be your new stream,
Must
Trent.
be epic.
Epic, epic, epic.
That was always the joke with my director friend of mine. He was, it was always hard to come up with better ways to get the actors to act better, right? So it would just be like, act more, suck less, just do it.
More acting.
More acting. We need this many actings by the end of the set rehearsal.
You are currently at a 5 in the acting scale. I need you at 11. 11.
Turn it all the way up. But that's really cool that there was able to be an expansion that got shelved and now gets to see the light of day. That's got to be really gratifying for that team to share it with the world.
That's awesome. They're excited about it, and we love working with those guys. So we're definitely going to roll some stuff together in the future as well.
Oh, some words have been said.
Oh.
I'm allowed to do that because everything I promise our people have to deliver. So right now in our office, the people are going, no.
Oh yeah, cut to the video of the Beamdog offices. Trent's never getting a desk again.
Committed us to more things that we have to do.
You just gotta get one of those buttons Eric has.
It's
all good.
Exactly.
The easy button.
The easy button.
That's all you need. Just right there.
Yours can say that was epic.
Yeah, we've got our collector's edition of Siege of Dragonspear.
Nice.
On sale today for our birthday. So it's normally $129. It's on today for $59.
Whoa!
Wow.
Those are like.
Those are really
epic
good.
prices.
Those are epic prices. Epic is the word of the day.
Insane.
I loved.
Enter code epic.
And with the collector's edition, you get a coin, right?
What?
Is that true?
Yeah, you get a Siege of Dragonspear coin. She's about 1.5 inches in diameter. It's,
oh wow!
It's monstrous.
Did you know that, Trent, that coin was the inspiration for us making our Waterdeep coins?
I did. I was talking to Nathan about that, and he was telling me all about it, and I was like, "That's really awesome."
Yeah.
I am glad to have influenced, because the Waterdeep coins are awesome.
You are an influencer.
Yes.
Officially
an influencer.
I've projected influence.
Update your Twitter profile.
Yeah.
I'm an influencer.
Yeah, so we actually went with that same company because they were so well made and had a lot of heft to them. We're like, they can get this down. And then we were really not sure if they'd be able to pull it off. We gave them some proofs, and they came back and they were amazing. So we're like, yes, order them all up. They were great.
Yeah, Nathan was talking to me at the stream about it, and I was like, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love it when skilled craftspeople do good work and it gets shown, and then more people just kind of follow on the chain and keep going with it.
It's true. It's
awesome.
And as game developers, you guys got to see that a lot too, where it's, you see good, and I think that's why it's really cool that the two of you guys are working together to pay it forward in a way.
And that's part of the fun of the game industry community. I mean, we're all creative people. We're all kind of driven to do our thing, and we look at each other and we're like, hey, those guys are doing a thing. That's pretty cool. I like that. And we just kind of naturally like to help each other out. The Stream of Many Eyes was like this hippie leaven. The game community is kind of like a bigger hippie leaven, but everybody's not quite as socially comfortable hugging. So there's this positivity, but there's also some awkwardness there. So we gotta work on that.
Just get past the awkwardness and
exactly.
Hug it out, man.
I mean, I think if everybody's wearing kilts and bald caps filled with water, the awkwardness goes away because you're already awkward, right?
Yeah, like I'm sloshing when I move, and he's experiencing bad drafts.
Sounds like
it
good
could be
drafts,
pretty hot
though.
back there in that soundstage. So there we go.
Yeah, I think it's good.
It's true. It's a good thing Shelly wasn't at the Stream of Many Eyes, because then that would have messed everything up.
In what way exactly?
I was thinking mostly, I was trying to get this into being a fart joke, and I couldn't really figure out how to get it to come around. I don't know why. He said drafts, and I was like, that means Shelly. That means Shelly. Just being honest with my creative process there.
It just goes that quickly to farts.
It's a Shelly and farts. You never know. You never know where it's
You can tell we also have some awkwardness in our office.
Mostly around beans.
Socially awkward.
Yeah.
I like the beans. Just like your 5-year-old daughter.
She really likes those beans.
Oh, wait, is it Edna who likes
Edna
them?
will have black beans. This is like the only thing she'll eat is like bowls and bowls of black beans.
Back in the day, Greg Zeschuk was a vegetarian. I believe he still is, but Yeah, sometimes that wasn't so good.
I am also a vegetarian who loves black
He
beans.
would kind of poison the odd boardroom meeting. You're like, we call a recess. We call a recess.
He's like,
5
guys,
minutes."
Uncle.
it's got to be epic. We're like, don't make it as epic as that, please.
Yeah, my eyes are watering. Let's take a break. Take a break.
Oh, man.
For the record, that is not what happens here.
That is true. That is
You
not.
have never actually experienced the ramifications of my high legume diet.
I think that's what makes it so funny is that it's so absurd. But I hope a co-founder of Bioware doesn't listen to this podcast. He's like, you outed me in my boardroom etiquette. Oh, good stuff. So there's lots of fun things happening for you guys working together. I believe there's a code up where people can get some fun chests of things happening. But if people are interested in learning more about Idle Champions and what Codename is doing, Eric, how can people find out? You already mentioned the live streams. You should definitely do those.
Yeah, certainly. There's the live streams every Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. Best place to go on the web would be www.idlechampions.com, and you can find lots of information about the game and links to both the game on Steam as well as the game is on iPads and Android tablets. So you can find all the links there at www.idlechampions.com.
It will not work on Trent's Android phone.
No, not unless it's an Android phone tablet. So,
A phablet?
a phablet, yeah. No, it doesn't even actually work on phablets, which is an industry term. Like, that's the worst industry term ever. But yes, it has to be a tablet, a pure play tablet. We need the space.
It's true. It's the UI. What about you, Trent? Where can people find out about all the fun stuff that you and Beamdog is doing?
So the best for us is probably the Beamdog website, beamdog.com. We have the forums as well, which you can access off of Beamdog. We also have a live stream. It's on Friday at 10 Pacific. We mostly goof off. We always start at playing old games, usually random stuff that we find on like abandonware or something. And we have a lot of fun with it. We goof around a lot, but we also answer a lot of sometimes game questions, sometimes it's hardcore deep technical questions. So it's kind of a hoot. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're all kind of all over the place. We're starting to do some Instagram stuff, but we're still kind of feeling it out.
Nice. Very cool. As long as you get to eventually some deep existential philosophical questions on some of those things. So I'll be sure to jump onto the stream and ask those.
Good.
Yeah.
Keep it classy.
We have a filter for you. Asked
They
by
never
Tito.
answer my question.
That's it.
Gotta change your name.
Phil's got a -2 on all rolls now.
I think he wanted a -5. That's his goal.
That's his goal.
His goal is
He's pushing
to
it.
generate enough pain for Nathan that he gets a -5.
I don't know, man. His dedication to that costume for the Stream of Many Eyes, I think, put him back to 0, I think.
He still bothers me about our conversation. I'm like, so Phil, you should probably shave your chest. And he's like, but I don't want to. And I was like, it's okay, Phil. It's okay that you don't want to.
That's okay. Your opinions and feelings have been heard.
Yeah,
And ignored.
totally noted.
I'm glad that you could be like, I had to wear a bald cap for 3 days. You could shave your chest.
Did he?
He did.
He did.
Well, that is dedicated.
Yeah.
What was his costume?
What was the name of the character from Baldur's
Rasad.
Gate?
He is the monk Rasad.
Oh.
Yeah. The paint on his chest was very canonical and perfect.
It was kind of hilarious because we'd actually sent all the pictures down to Red Dodge, who was our makeup artist, and she made stencils and honestly, we sent her 3 pictures and they were all totally different. So she kind of had to make up. The face tattoos were reasonably tight, but the body stuff was all over the place. So she kind of made it up, and then she's spending 2.5 hours standing on Phil and painting him every morning.
Oh my God.
Dedication. These guys were dedicated. It's so good.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I know he had at least one fan come up to him and said that was his favorite character in Baldur's
I
Gate,
gotta
and he
go back
couldn't
and look.
believe that someone had worn that costume and did it so well. as
Well,
well.
it's great because Phil's actually the head in the portrait in the game. So Phil
didn't
is
know that.
Rasad. Yeah.
That's cool.
And the funny thing is we brought Mark Meir down, who was Alveus Malcanter, but Mark was also the voice of Rasad. So he could actually do the voice. So Phil would move his mouth and
Oh my
Mark would
God.
talk behind him.
Oh man, I didn't get to witness that. Now I'm sad. I gotta find some video of that somewhere. That's
I
good
don't know if
stuff.
there's any video. It was just one of those moments that happened.
Oh, I missed it. That's so good. All right, well, good stuff. Give all of Canada my best.
Northern Kanakistan says thank you.
We'll see you guys again very soon. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Excellent.
That was fun.
They are good peoples.
That was fun.
It's good times. We are going to take a short break. Twitch folks, thank you for hanging out. We got another interview coming up directly after this one with Alex Kammer from GameholeCon. We're going to get that all ready to go and continue with that. And then we got You Should Know after that at 4 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to try to cram in as much as we can.
That's a busy day.
I know. We're going to try, and we have to get out of this channel by 4:30 because Loading Ready Run is going to be broadcasting from this channel then. So we'll try to get as much lore as we can in that half hour. We might sign off a little bit early to go kick it to Loading Ready Run, but that's what's happening in the next hour and a half here on this Twitch channel. Thanks, you guys. We're going to take a short break and come right back with another interview with Alex Kammer. Got it?
Bye-bye.
Got it, Shelly?
Got it.
Got it? Now you can get the water into the right water into the thing?
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
I like
Take
it.
care of that.
I like it. Pretty sweet. We'll be back in
Bye-bye.
just a second.